So now that this whole Wagner thing seems to be over, and we're all hoping that it is, I just want to remind everybody that Russia's political system is kind of like the Roman Empire. They center around a strong man. They're not like Western countries where you have a voting system and you have special interests to propel somebody to leadership positions. In Russia, they center around a strong man. So what happens is you got, say, for Putin, you have Prigozhin, and you have certain leaders, certain people in key positions in the Russian system that support one or the other. And in this case, they all supported Putin. So Prigozhin didn't have the backing to actually really implement a coup. In a lot of ways, the Russian system is kind of like the Roman Empire. Actually, if you compare Russia to Rome, there's a lot of similarities. In Russia, Russia does have a bit of a history where somebody, to put it in a metaphorical sense, somebody quote unquote crosses the Rubicon and tries to claim leadership, kind of like in Rome, especially towards the late Roman Empire, where you would have a general that maybe that's successful, that his soldiers really support him. They throw him on a shield and carry him. That would symbolize that they support him to be the emperor. And towards the late Roman Empire, a lot of these generals were proclaiming themselves as emperors. And how that worked is that the emperor would the general, the aspiring emperor, would take his legions and gather them up, gather more support along the way as he marched towards either Rome or Constantinople. And then there'd be a fight. There'd be a miniature civil war, and whoever won was the emperor. The Russian system obviously is not quite like that, but it actually has some similarities. Just like Rome, the elite gather around the strong man. You just had Prigozhin with his mercenary group, the Wagner group. At least a portion of them actually marched into Russia and challenged the leadership there. Had he got more institutional support, perhaps he might not have been inclined to make a deal. Maybe he would have just kept on marching forward. And in a case like that, there could have been a civil war. But anyway, that is a bit of how the Russian system works. It was a competition of of a strong man and an aspiring strong man that thought that he could march on Moscow. And obviously, in this case, it didn't work because he didn't have the support of the Russian oligarchy. So anyway, I just want to point that out and give a point of view of how the Russian system works. Again, it's not like the West. Of course, Russia does have elections, but they don't matter in the Russian system, in the Russian culture, like it does in the West. Well, at least the way it used to work in the West. Now, here in the United States, we just have special interests, and they just import a bunch of people and cheat elections when the American people, don't go the way of the special interest. So anyway, that's a bit of an explanation.